My name is Josie Martin. I am a first-year student in the Masters of Educational Leadership and Management program at Royal Roads University. And in this video clip, I'm going to talk about my reflections and learning experiences that have brought me to understand my philosophy of teaching and leadership. So there are two parts to my story: myself as a learner and myself as an educational leader. This image is a collection of my experiences. So each piece here is representing in some way how I've come to know myself as a learner. So my life's journey has led me to understand that reflective practice is essential to coping with adversity, moving through change, creating change, and essentially growing in a positive way. So I want to start by saying that I've always thought that there's never really an end to learning. Learning is simply a journey with no end, yet it seems there can definitely be multiple starts. So in the beginning, I always ask myself some questions. Who am I? Why am I here? Where do I want to go? How am I going to get there? And what is my vision of who I want to be? So who am I? Well, I'm a mother. I have 5 children, for those of you that know me. 2 are missing here. But deeper than that, I have been categorized by the Myers-Briggs Indicator Report as an extroverted intuition with feeling. And yes, I have to agree, these are my preferences. I do feel a very strong and deep-seated desire for teaching and helping people succeed in life. And so after reading my report, I was pleased to receive validation that I am, and here I'll quote, extremely perceptive towards the attitudes of others, aiming to understand rather than judge. So the downside about this characteristic, though, is that I've realized possessing this kind of intuition mixed with a passion for helping others really does have a tipping point. I mean, I can't say how many times I've had to work really hard at just not caring too much, learning to let things go. When I see untapped potential in students just start to fade away as they make their way through the school system, I just feel so much dissonance that I just want to fix the system. Parker Palmer calls this standing in the tragic gap. So he says, by the tragic gap, I mean the gap between the hard realities around us and what we know is possible. Not because we wish it were so, but because we've seen it with our own eyes. Where do I want to go? Well, this is a hard question to answer. I mean, it's super exciting. It makes my life rich because I want to go everywhere and I want to do everything. It's interesting because the 2 learning styles questionnaires, the VARK and the MBTI that I've mentioned before, they say that I'm a multimodal learner. And they've classified me as an ENFP. And these characteristics are extroversion, intuition, feeling, and perceiving. And what's interesting for me and also very exciting to hear is that I can succeed in almost any field that captures my interest, which I've always known to be true. This is not to say that the richness of my life changes have come easy. Learning to move forward towards success really has been hard work. I've had to develop strategies to convince myself to move forward, to become a self-directed learner, and teach myself how to take those calculated risks. In building a business, and what I feel is important to mention is that I've read many, many books, held on to quotes of and the ideals of various mentors and authors, and one of my favorite quotes by Susan Jeffers is, "Feel the fear and do it anyway." What I found is that I would think about what's the worst that could happen, and usually I would discover that the risk of inaction was much worse than the risk of action. So in this way, I developed a reflective practice of what I call my bottom line. So the takeaway from this is that perhaps I have become a perpetual reflective beginner. Whether that elevates me to a reflective practitioner, who knows, but I have refined strategies that work in achieving success, and I've used them over and over again. And these strategies are: find a mentor, take bits and pieces from people that you admire, read as much as you can, read. Leave the dishes or get a dishwasher, and I have one now. Visit your happy place and make that important and frequent. And really, really always remember your guiding light and your bottom line. So now we come to the big question here of who do I want to be? And the answer to this question is the next part of this video, which is myself as a teacher and an educational leader. As a teacher, I want to be able to impart strategies for learning with students, strategies that I have learned, and give students a chance to have positive learning experiences because, and I'll quote Macbeth and Dempster here, people who have had positive educational experiences tend to have a wider repertoire of interests and sources of fulfillment. This next collection of images represents my learning experiences at Royal Roads University towards the end of becoming a teacher leader. So throughout my life I have developed a very deep-seated belief that there prevails an urgent necessity for school change. And this belief, of course, has come from my interest in education and in what I call the real world. One incredible learning experience here was to be involved in the World Cafe Collaboration Assembly. The energy of this session still resonates as it was so powerful. It was actually amazing to see the collection of ideas being drawn as they came up in real time by a graphic artist. So I just couldn't help but come away wondering if in fact all of us were possibly involved in a real paradigm shift. The most important experience at Royal Roads University is that of being involved with the collaborative effort of my Team A. This sits deep with me because our team strategy was to divide up tasks right away and then just get to work. And it might seem like on the surface that we simply had to write an article, critique, and play a game. Well, actually the game was quite a learning experience in itself, collaboratively, but really there was just instant rapport. We all had strong opinions. What I have learned is that it will certainly take a collaborative effort to affect any kind of school change. The atmosphere for this collaboration will need to be one of trust, hope, and vision, a place certainly where fear and disparity do not exist. And this brings me to the end of part 1 of my reflection on myself as a learner and a leader.